I'm dressed down, but I did change. I would really look bad before I put this on. Oh yeah, we started at 5:30 this morning.
I don't blame you. That is not the weather. We're on. Okay, we'll call the meeting to order. It is Tuesday, July 2nd, 2019. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, minutes and reports received and filed.
We have June 2019 recorder fees filed, and June 2019 clerk fees filed, and June 2019 auditor's report filed.
Okay, Commissioner Committee liaison reports, upcoming meetings and events.
Independence Day celebration is about it. The rest of the meetings we don't have this week, so that's all I got.
Yes, salute to us, America celebration tomorrow and Thursday. Lots of events going on, starting tomorrow with the parade at 5:30, and then opening ceremonies are at 7. Entertainment starts, I think, at 7:30 or 8 on the main stage. Other entertainment on the Madison stage. And then the main, lots of activities going on Thursday. Hot dog eating contest. I got you signed up, Sam. So, anyway, and then they come down and relieve themselves in front of your store.
I was waiting for a bourbon tasting.
Bourbon tasting.
Yeah, I didn't see that though.
But anyway, so lots of great sponsors that have helped, and obviously Cole County has helped with that as well, and so we appreciate that. And then main entertainment Thursday night, and fireworks at dark. So that's about it.
Okay, yeah, that's what I've got. Got a couple of meetings Friday. Monday I get to do a program for the Rotary Club. I'm the historian now of Cole County, so I'm going to give them the history of Cole County. And I think too, we're not doing our meeting next week till Wednesday, so I got a couple things on Tuesday I didn't even put down. Okay, bids and contracts. Contract award and signing of the city downtown complex asphalt upgrades.
This is the contract. I think we all reviewed the bids, it was last week, I think, and approved it. This is just a matter of bringing the contract up here for you all to sign. The contract addendum, or? It's actually a new contract. A new contract. In the amount of $40,805. Okay. Who was that with again, Larry? You got that?
It's with Higgins Asphalt
Okay.
Paving.
All right, you want to bring that up here? Still good with it?
Yep, yep.
Move that we sign the contract with Higgins Asphalt Paving for the county downtown complex asphalt upgrades.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Approval and signing the, yes.
sorry.
Oh, go ahead, go
If I
ahead.
could on that too, if somebody would let us know, when we need to be out of parking places, and if I could send out an email, how long, and what you guys may or may not want to do for the people that will not have parking places.
But we actually kept some of the spaces over there on Adams in that.
No, while they're doing this, so I don't know.
Yeah, we just need to let the assessor's office and other people that park over there know
No,
when it's gonna
yeah.
happen, so.
Yeah.
Okay, that's all I have.
Okay. Approval and signing of first watch contract addendum. Where'd Miss, boy, that's right
Good
on.
morning.
Chief. So what we're asking for is the signing of the addendum to the contract. Basically, when we entered into the agreement with First Watch and First Pass, we did not anticipate having an issue integrating with our CAD system. Since then, we've had some technological issues come up with that integration. So what they would like to do is amend the contract, basically doing it as a tiered implementation. So what we would do is integrate our first pass initially, and then we would integrate our CAD system for the first watch. And the new contract has the updated pricing. The pricing will not change. They're just doing it in 2 separate phases.
I'm good.
Good too.
I move that we approve and sign the First Watch contract addendum.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay.
Sure.
Do we have any unfinished business? Accounts payable review?
I'd ask for approval of accounts payable pending review.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, since Councilman Halovich is here, I think we're gonna move the Port Authority Mazdaba grant to the front.
So, yeah, so I think Mr. Councilman Mihailovich is just here kind of as support, but the Heartland Port Authority has applied and has been awarded the MASBDA grant, and they're looking for the matching funds associated with that. Not sure if all 3 entities are in at this point, but and I don't know if Callaway has actually gone to their commission to ask for some funding there, but so we'd be looking for a maximum of $7,000 to help fund this grant, to really do a deep dive into local businesses within a certain radius here, and try to really nail down exactly who would utilize the port.
You said maximum 7,000. Is that if, say, Callaway County doesn't do it, does that?
That's correct.
Cover? some of
That
theirs?
covers, yes.
So it's
Yeah.
either 5,000 or 7,000?
Right, yeah.
So,
But we gotta keep moving ahead, so this is minimal, really.
yeah, I'm fine with it.
Good?
Yep.
Okay. Do we need action today, or?
We're not the recipient of the grant, we're just guaranteeing that the match for the grant.
Right,
Yeah, as long as I know that you guys are okay with taking that.
okay,
Yep,
all right,
okay.
good.
So, yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks. That wasn't too hard.
You're welcome to stay. We have lots of fun, you know. Okay. Second and final reading of budget adjustment number 9.
This is for $3,735.77. This is one of the law enforcement vehicles that were hurt in the tornado. Just need action to approve that court order. To put the money in and then to spend the money.
I move that we sign court order number 9.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Second and final reading of budget adjustment number 10.
This is for $12,566. Again, it's a tornado damage check that we received. I'll give you the action on it.
Is that for one of the ambulances, or what was that one for? Juvenile?
Juvenile
Okay, yep,
vehicle,
that's
yes,
right.
the-
Okay.
Yeah.
I move that we sign court order number 10.
Second.
All in favor?
More to come.
Aye.
Okay. Evacuation procedure manual. Is that John or?
John?
Sheriff?
Sheriff. Sorry, what?
Do you have the evacuation plan?
Is that yours?
No, sir. No, that's one of the things I was coming up to find out what you were talking about.
Apparently, we need to find out. what we're
I'll see if I
talking
can.
That may have been, I know the courts was working on something for that.
Oh, yes, I'm sorry. I need to call Donnie when you're ready for that.
Okay.
We can
Oh,
put him
Just-
up.
okay,
move
well,
it
we'll move
down.
it back,
Thank
we'll
you.
move it, yeah.
You want me to call Donnie for you?
Yeah, well, he's got court, so we'll wait till the end.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Discussion of health department positions.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I wanted to talk a little bit about the position since we're halfway through the year. And we have some vacancies, we want to do a little shuffling around, and then we wanted to talk about adding or putting back a position that we hadn't really filled for a while because of space and because of duties. First thing I wanted to talk about was an empty position that we have in WIC. We want to promote one person, and then that position that's vacant, we want to move up to the front desk and have them help check in WIC clients at the front desk and answer the phones, you know, just different clinic flow. We have a couple empty positions that we hadn't filled in WIC, like when Karen Hinch's retired. Because of space and because of caseload and because of funding, we've just kind of held those open. So we want to go ahead and do some shuffling and pull that position up to the front desk, help do check-in, help answer the phones, and that position will be partially funded by WIC. We have the money in our expenditure line, so that one's really, as far as the salary expenditure line, it's a budget neutral move. But I did want to let you know that that does put one more person under Donna's supervision. Well, they'll probably be co-supervised between Donna and Melinda because they will do both functions. They will also help with the billing for WIC Medicaid because that takes quite a bit of time. There's been a change with how they can do that billing. They can't use the billing summary we use anymore, so we have to create another document to be able to submit that billing to be reimbursed. So it just takes more staff time to do those things. So like I said, we want to take that position, just kind of move it around. But we've heard, don't know if it's true, that the WIC reimbursement rate will increase with the new contract that we get in October. So depending on how much that increase is and if the new implementation of the WIC EBT cards increases our caseload for the next year, we'll have a better idea when we come for the 2020 or 2020 budget. We might want to add a full-time position back in WIC if we get that increase in funding and we have an increase in caseload and it shows it. You know, for a while we've kind of just held those positions open because we were waiting. So there might be some changes with WIC. We just don't know how the electronic EBT cards are going to affect caseload. There was an article in the paper about it yesterday, I guess, or today. The other positions that we want to talk about are the nursing positions. We had a nurse that was doing, you know, clinic work and health educator work and worksite wellness. It ended up being a lot. And as we're in the new building, I feel like we're kind of at a tipping point where we're getting a lot of requests for community education classes. We got another request from a school this week. Preparing for the fall, we're doing more classes. We want to do some more worksite wellness. We want to do some health coaching for our employees. We want to do more lunch and learns, but we can't do it with the staff that we have, the number of staff. With the clinic traffic, the nurses need to be there. They can't be out in the community. So we really want to help add that health educator that we've been talking about. The health educator would be responsible for all the social media, the website. I would also ask them to help look for grants and help write grants because the staff that we have now, just, you know, you can't do all that on top of your regular duties. I would like them to be a certified health coach because then we could do that in-house and not pay like Cap Region to do that. They'd also do the child care health consultation program, the Safe Crib program, and like I said, do website, social media, and do the classes. And they do that for the whole health department, not just the clinic side, but also assist like on the WIC side and the environmental. We're getting a lot of requests for food safety classes and training, and we want to try to do some on-site sewage classes that we can charge for, but we need someone that can coordinate that stuff, get it on the website, get the classes, get people enrolled, just kind of be that class coordinator on top of worksite wellness and other stuff.
So it wouldn't necessarily be a nurse?
It would not.
No,
It would be a
would
health
be-
educator.
Yeah, okay.
And I would have that position report directly to me. That way they would help the entire department, not just the nursing side.
So
Oops, sorry.
go ahead.
I was trying to follow along. Are you adding a position or we're just filling it with a different title with the health coach, educator, coordinator?
Well, the vacant position that we had, we want to hire back as a nurse. So technically, we would be adding a health educator. I guess technically you could say we are adding a position, but if you look on page 21 of the budget book, you can see that in 2009, the health department had 27 positions, and now we're down to 22. And partly, a lot of that was because we didn't have the space, and our workload, our caseload in WIC, had gone down, and we were waiting until we got in this new building. We had not, like when Cinda retired, we didn't refill our position, For a while, we just sort of made do with what we had, and like I said, now I feel like we're at this tipping point where we're getting busier, and we need to refill some of those old positions that we hadn't filled. The only ones that were grant funded were the Healthy Beginnings, and that was a position and a half. The rest of these, were either WIC or just regular health department positions that for whatever reason, we just kind of held back and reevaluated before we refilled. Does that make sense?
And WIC, you're still over 1,000 clients a month. Yeah.
We're still running right about 1,400. But like I said, supposedly we're gonna get $1 more a participant. I don't know if that's true. And then with the EBT cards, we anticipate an increase in caseload. Because of the way the vouchers work now. Do you guys know, like the vouchers they give them now, it'll have like a gallon of milk, a jar of peanut butter, or whatever. It's all in one voucher, so they have to redeem it all then or nothing. So the EBT cards, they'll be able to just go in and get like one item. It's gonna make the WIC program more client friendly for them and how they use their benefits. So we anticipate an increase in caseload because more people will find it more user friendly.
So the WIC position would not increase your budget, or there'd be money to cover that position?
Correct. And with Kristen did run a report with the vacancies and stuff we've had, we're at like 87 surplus for the year. That changes really doesn't affect our budget line.
So the certified health coach, previously we had, so the position that we had doing worksite wellness, you want to hire that position as a nurse?
Well, I want to hire a nurse to work in the clinic, and then I want to hire a health educator to do worksite wellness that will also hopefully be a certified health coach.
But the position that's vacant, you want to hire that as a nurse?
Yeah.
Okay. And so when we did obviously we were doing worksite wellness and trying to get everybody healthy and trying to get all our employees kind of on the same page and trying to improve our health so that our healthcare costs stayed down. Did we ever help try to fund that position, or we were just funding that program with the health insurance surplus?
Not the position so much, just the activity that
Right.
person did.
We just
We
had
set a budget aside for them.
Right. And so you had said the certified health coach would do some health education at some of the schools?
Yeah, they would basically take over a health educator role and do worksite wellness, do the health classes at the schools that we get requests for. They would do the child care health consultation program, they'd do the safe crib program, and they'd help coordinate the classes at the health department, whether it was CPR, we'd get them CPR certified, because Jana's already certified, but you really need 2 people to do the class. They could do the diabetes education, the baby care 101 class, the cooking classes. They would take care of the website, they'd take care of social media, which could be a full-time job. And then, like I said, I'd also like them to help look for grants and help write grants, kind of coordinate that for the whole department too.
Seems like you're gonna ask that person to do quite a bit. Is that are they gonna be able to do it all?
And when they're coordinating those classes, like the baby care 101, they're probably just gonna like take care of, get it on social media, getting it scheduled, and then one of the nurses will teach the classes. Some of it's just coordinating and, getting it, like I said, on social media and things like that. It might not be the actual teaching of the class. So in like the environmental classes, that they can just help the environmental staff by making the flyer, getting it posted, making sure people are registered, getting it advertised, and then the environmental people are teaching the class. So, and like childcare health consultation, safe crib, the nurses do those programs now. So if that got to be too much for that person, we could always kind of pull it back.
So where does your budget stand? I mean, do you have room in your budget to hire someone like that to, or is that gonna be a budgetary impact for this year?
For this year, probably some. Like I said, with the changes in the vacancies we had, we have an annual savings about, it's 87.77. But, you know, I wouldn't anticipate we'd get this hired person. This person wouldn't be hired probably till the middle of August by the time we, get it posted. So it would just be, you know, 4 months of salary. And I think that we would have to hire someone in the $40,000 to $45,000 range, kind of like our, within the, we have public health nurse 1 and 2s that start at 42 to 44. I think that person would need to be, you know, somewhere in that range too, to make it competitive, especially with the duties we're giving them.
I'm fine with doing filling the position, but adding a position, I'm probably not so much for right now. I think we need to do that during budget time, talk about that at the end of this year for next year's budget. I know we went from, well, I didn't realize we went from 27 to 22 people, but I knew we reduced some staff because we added 2 others for their responsibilities, and I think there was pay increases on that too. Is that right? Debbie, you remember for sure when we did that?
I think there was on some situations.
Depending on the situation.
Yeah. So I remember losing a couple or eliminating a couple of positions, but then increasing the workload for others and giving them some salary differential to account for the extra duties.
Right,
So-
and one of those staff persons just left because they had taken on the epi role and they are leaving, so, we're still figuring out what we're gonna do with that epi role, but, yeah, I agree, we try to always, you know, do more with the people that we have, but I feel like our workload is increasing, now too, we're getting more requests, more, and, yeah, I kind of anticipated you wanting to wait till January for the health educator, but we're just gonna have to tell the schools no for the fall then, because we're gonna be hiring and training 2 new nurses, and we have school flu clinics. We won't tell them no for that. We're gonna do that. And then we also got that contract to do the flu vaccinations for DHSS, which we're gonna buy the vaccine and bill for, which will bring in more money, but that's also, I think, at least 300 vaccinations, so 400. So the school classes, when the schools call, we're just not gonna be able to do them. So we'll just have to cut back.
Yeah, I mean, I understand you wanting to meet the needs of the community and provide the best service. Sometimes you just gotta tell them no at
Yep.
this point. We can look at it for next year.
Can we do the classes, you know, during the year, next year? I'm I'm kind of like Jeff. God, son. We're so close to starting budget.
I understand, it's just with the school year, they
I know.
start asking, you know, now or in August when they start coming back. So if we get the position in January, we get someone hired in February or March, they're out in May, and they don't have
Yeah.
time then for classes. So we'll have one school year basically where we don't provide the classes.
Seems like we're being asked to do those classes when maybe they should be providing them on their own, and so maybe there should be some type of a funding. You know, we charge for on-site sewage classes, we charge for other things. I mean, you know, if we're going into their school and teaching stuff that they should be teaching, maybe we should get paid for that.
We can sure broach that subject with them.
So, anyway, so I mean, that makes it a lot easier to say, oh yeah, we'll come help you out.
For this much per hour. Yeah, we can do that.
I mean, I'm not a no. I mean, I think this is an important position, but
Mhm.
I mean, obviously it's just, hard to add positions mid-year and, but I mean, I think our work salary wellness has done good for our employees, and so I want to see that continue. And I mean, I think there's a lot of benefits there. But
We agree. Now, I mean, the fruit delivery, everyone loves the fruit. We're gonna have a meeting with the committee this afternoon and try to approach it differently and see if some of those other committee members can pick up the fruit or help out a little bit, because we won't be able to have a nurse speak on Monday morning to deliver it to everybody. But if we have it ordered at Sam's and it's paid for, all they have to do is stop by and pick it up on their way to work. They open at 7, so.
I mean, I'm not a no. I mean, if you have somebody
Yeah.
that's, I mean, a lot of times, I think sometimes, although it is more of a budget issue, I mean, if you have somebody that you think would fit real well, I mean, sometimes those kind of things come into play too. Just because, I mean, good people are hard to find.
Yeah.
So,
And then I sent you the results of like the nurse practitioner survey. I don't know if you want to talk about that, or if you've had a chance to look at that email. But like I said, I thought it was a good time to revisit those goals and talk about the things that we talked about in January.
yeah, I looked at the survey. I thought it was pretty positive results, based on whoever took it. I mean, and was there a number of how many people participated in that, or did they give us that?
About 150, it looks like,
Or-
depending on the question. Some 151, some people answer some questions that skip others, so.
I mean, I see that as a benefit to our employees, but I also see it as a benefit to the community, and I think it could be self-funded.
I thought it was pretty good, yeah. I mean, a lot of them still want to go to their regular doctor, but there's still a lot of people that just go to a quick care or an urgent care.
I think a lot of the reason
So
they
I
want to their
think,
regular doctors, they want to make sure their doctor gets that information.
Yeah.
But we can print a visit
Yeah.
summary and they can take it, or we can fax it to their doctor's office. We can solve that problem.
Yeah. I think it was good.
Okay.
Do you want to revisit that at budget time also?
I think so, yeah, definitely. All right,
Mhm.
thanks, Christie.
Thank you.
Okay. First reading of budget adjustment number 11.
This is for $9,713. It's the law enforcement, it's surplus that they have in their surplus property, that they're, it's gonna increase their budget on both sides, but no action today.
Okay.
Can you explain that to me again? I mean, maybe I wasn't listening.
Surplus property basically
Okay.
is selling of different vehicles or
Okay.
anything in their department that was their assets.
Okay,
They are 9,700 above what we budgeted. So in
Okay.
turn, they want to put that back into their capital to spend.
so they sold more than what we budgeted?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Approval of Cole County purchasing policies.
So we talked last week about new purchasing policies. You guys had some questions about conflict of interest. I sent you an email yesterday that kind of goes through exactly what the Federal Code of Regulations says for conflict of interest. There are some standards that you can set differently because we are a non-federal entity. So if you want to do you can accept a small gift that is unsolicited and a nominal value and set what that value is. So like you can accept a pen, or you can accept a free soda or something to that effect. You can set what that standard is internally for us, since we are a non-federal entity. The other thing is that it's required that we have disciplinary actions included in our policy that says what will happen if you do not follow the conflict of interest. So I proposed some language in that email as well. for possibly what you could put a very generic statement that just says we can discipline you if you don't follow it up to dismissal, depending on the severity of it. So I kind of need a little bit of guidance as to whether or not you guys are good with the initial language, and then if you want to set a different standard for a situation where you could accept a small gift or a promotional
car
item.
or-
No. Like a promotional item or something like that.
Do we have to set the standard, or do we have to give something vague as to what is acceptable? I mean, so,
So, I mean, I think you could either use a dollar amount or you can be generic with it, but you have to set what that standard is so people know what they can and cannot accept.
I mean, you guys got any thoughts? I mean,
So I think in the original policy, that was proposed, acceptance of gifts other than advertising novelties for use at work is prohibited. You could make it more generic than that. If you want to make it a little broader, that you can accept up to $10 or something so that they can take you out to lunch. I don't know how you want to set that, but and we don't have to approve today. We can think about it and kind of see what you think, but we need to set what that standard is if you're going to allow them at all, because the policy right now says that you may neither solicit or accept gratuities, favor, or any monetary value from contractors or subcontractors. So if you want there to be an exception to that, we need to set what that standard is.
So we need to set a dollar amount.
Yes.
I mean, I personally have gone out to dinner with vendors, and so, I mean, whatever amount that is, I don't know. I don't see that as a bribe. I see that as an opportunity for them to talk to me about their product. I mean, you guys probably have too. I mean, so I've done that. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, but I don't see that that's a bribe. I don't see that's a decision-making thing. You know, they're just telling me about their product. I may or may not buy it. I mean, but everybody's welcome to try to get me in a one-on-one situation, and I mean, and talk about their product, and then I'll do my own research or whatever. But I mean, that happens in the business world all the time. So, I mean, but you know, a dinner could be
Yeah.
could be $50. It could be, you know, it could be more. I mean, that's kind of an extravagant dinner, but I mean, that's, I mean, that can happen depending on where you go. And so,
I think at $5 on that's ludicrous. So, yeah, $25 or $20, something like that would be.
I mean, in my opinion, you know, obviously if you're not accepting a huge monetary dollar figure and you're not using it in your decision-making abilities on who gets what, then you haven't had any conflict of interest. But I mean, other people may see that differently. I mean, the sheriff could take me out for pie and then he'd be in violation.
And that's a true point. And I think that if you put the disciplinary in there, if you're gonna actually use it, you're gonna need to put some criteria on there. I think that you don't wanna be ambiguous. You wanna make sure that you have a set limit there. You know, if you wanna do $30 or whatever, I think it's important. And the other thing is, the most important thing, for me anyway, because I don't really care about everybody else. We gotta make sure that whatever we do is compliant with the feds and with the state, because I can't afford to lose those grants.
Yeah,
Well, I think the paragraph that Kristen sent us complied with what we had to have for federal grants, correct?
Well, so the only thing is that last sentence right now is very strict on not accepting anything. So there is that exception there that you can set it to be different than that. So if you choose to set an amount or something that you can receive, then we need to adjust that, because currently it says you cannot solicit or accept anything.
So does that mean if you're at a conference and like a vendor is sponsored, like the reception, you can't even eat at that?
I mean, I would take that as the same, yeah, I mean, so,
Just a point of clarification, federal contract law only requires, as far as the language in here, and I'd have to look at it to remember where it was, but I think it's in that first sentence, because in the administration of a federal contract. So to be compliant in order to receive pass-through grant money, it would be compliant if you limited it to federal contracts, just so you know. I know Kristen's recommendation is that it applies more broadly to everything.
Right.
But I just wanna let you know, if the sole consideration is losing federal grant money, you could insert the word federal.
But doesn't, I don't mean to interrupt you, Joe, but didn't the state also come down and say that you have to be in compliance with the CFR from federal government? So if it says this is the CFR from federal government, then Missouri came in and said you have to mirror what that says.
I'm thinking for the pass-through grants, John, but I would have to look and see if that also applies to state-funded grants. I have to say, I'm not sure,
Yeah.
but I know that's the language that's required when you're accepting a federal pass-through grant.
Well,
Yeah,
and
bookkeeping.
sometimes there is some confusion as well as to whether a grant is state or federal. So, I mean, you have to be very aware that if that money is passed through and it's originally federal dollars, that these restrictions still apply. So don't go based on, hey, I'm receiving money from Department of Public Safety, so I don't have to follow
Right,
this.
they're pretty clear on all of these, at least the ones I've been involved with, because they've got the, assurances that you have to make, and then there are all these compliances, and it has federal law and all that. So,
Keeping track of one way
Certified
versus
insurance.
another way of
Yeah.
expenditures would be very difficult.
Okay, so what you sent us, we can put in there and we'll comply, and then if we wanna change the last sentence, we can change it.
Basically.
but we have
Whatever
to come
by-
up with a dollar amount or what?
Right, you need to come up with what that standard is.
I don't care, I'm not gonna accept lunch then, it's that easy, you don't accept anything. If they buy it for you, you just throw some money on the table. You didn't accept it.
you know, there's also some language too that gives you an out.
But I mean, what about the sponsored dinners when you go to CCAM? I mean,
That's what I was just gonna get to, Chris. Sometimes you see language that a benefit that is generally available to whatever, broad number of
to every
people.
elected official that's there.
Yes.
yeah.
That's a bunch of crap.
I'm just telling you.
I know. But I mean, it's the same thing.
I'd say we could put like $25. $25 is gonna cover most meals. Somebody gives you a shirt, $25 is gonna cover the wholesale cost of a shirt. Yeah. It's, I don't know.
I don't know, when you guys go to conference and stuff, you don't have people that try to take you out to dinner and stuff. I mean, it happens when we go. I mean, county commissioners conference, I mean, we got 15 or so people saying, hey, you wanna come out to dinner with us? I mean, $25 sometimes doesn't cover a whole lot, but anyway, but I don't care. I mean,
We just get-
I
we
think
get
it's,
soup and
pretty
salad.
vague, yeah. But, I mean, but to me, it's no different. I mean,
Well, I
if
agree.
if somebody writes you a check for your campaign and it's $3,000 or $4,000 or $5,000, I mean, that's legal. I mean, you can say what that is. I mean, but somebody's gonna want something.
We have to disclose that.
You go to $25.
I'm fine with whatever you wanna put on there. I wasn't that worried about it. I mean, I'm not out there soliciting them to take me to dinner just so I'm gonna consider their contract.
Right.
I'm just talking about stuff.
So I will put that in the policy. I'll bring you a
fine.
straight one with no changes, and next week you guys can do the approval.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. Fidelity bond application.
Okay, this is, we do this annually. It's maybe sometimes called a dishonesty bond or criminal bond. It's just an application to get that started again. It starts in August of every year. And it requires a signature from you, Sam. And again, this is, we have to list by job title the employees that may not be. Obviously, you elected officials are covered under a bond, and some of our other employees are covered, but this will cover about 43 people in the county that may have the ability to, to receive money in their job title, you know what I mean? So part of their job is handling money for the county, so it's just the application to get that coverage again for the next year.
I move that we sign the bond application.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Discussion of assessor pay forms. Where'd Chris? Okay. Well, we did the
Maybe you want Donnie over.
Donnie's, yeah, let's,
I'll text him.
Real quickly, while we have a minute, last week I kind of brought up, we don't have in writing a policy on surplus property, but we kind of talked that Brian possibly was going to use a new service to dispose of computers.
Mhm.
Did you guys have a chance to think about that or have any issues?
I talked to Brian, and I'm good with, I think he was talking about destroying the hard drive with some type of service, and I think that makes perfect sense, and so I think it's a waste of time to even put it in surplus property, so.
Okay.
yep,
Fine with it, yeah.
yep.
So we don't formally have a policy in place at the moment, but do you guys want to vote on that or just
We
anything?
just on computer stuff, or?
Yes, it's computer stuff only, so, and it has to go to Brian first. No one else can dispose of it until it goes through him, so.
Okay. Can we get something written up, just something real generic, and then we can just sign it next week or something?
Sure.
Gosh, the power, Brian. We're just giving you more and more power.
Maybe we better get that bond on him.
Yeah.
Make sure it holds him,
It starts stealing.
make sure it holds him liable if he messes up too. Thank you.
Court orders.
Yeah.
While we're waiting, can Larry and I ask you about Osage City? It's a joint project.
Hmm?
Sure.
Yeah.
We've been getting a lot of complaints about mosquitoes at Osage City, and I think Joe talked to Larry about spraying on Friday night. Looked at our, integrated pest management policy, but it's kind of a extenuating circumstance with all the flooding that we've had, so I didn't know if you wanted to ask about.
Did y'all already do the larvicide thing, or you can't do it until the water goes down and recedes?
We've been doing dumps too,
Yeah, that's what
yeah.
I said, they've been doing dumps, that's far, we put out larvicides in subdivisions and areas like that, or requested. I think they've been dealing mainly with the Osage City area down there, but, talking to Joe Friday night, they are seeing a influx of mosquitoes down in the Osage City area. It's under our current policy, we don't actually go out and fog unless it's, we have a confirmed case of West Nile or some other disease. It's up to you all. Like I said, I don't know if our guys, to be honest, at this point, I talked to Larry a couple weeks ago about it, but I don't know if we've had a chance to calibrate the fogger yet. If you all would want us to go down fog, our other question is, in the past, we've only fogged off, public roads. A lot of those, cabin areas down there are in on private roads. It's just a question, you all. And it looks like we're gonna be dealing with this flooding, or at least along those 8 cities, because Missouri's gonna be up probably most of the summer. So I'm sure they're gonna be experiencing.
Would we be doing the fogging at night?
We do it at dusk. We don't necessarily through the night. We usually go out right at dusk. That's when the mosquitoes come out the most prevalent. We'll fog during those times.
I know a lot of people are out right at dusk too, a lot of times, and so.
Normally, when we fog, at least in the Osage City area, in the old town, yeah, I'd say there's probably people, the cabin areas, there's probably not as much activity during the week as on weekends.
Have you done private roads in the past,
No.
or?
We've
I'd-
always
I hate to,
I understand.
yeah,
That's why we're bringing it to you, to see what, so we've got an answer to be able to give to the people, when they call. I know, I think you all have been doing some tracking, trying to make sure that we don't have any confirmed cases of West Nile or other diseases, but, right now, we're not seeing that, but just thought for you all, in the back of your minds, like I said, see what you want us to do.
Larry, that includes Lowelltown, Marina Road, and all that too?
Well, that was my next question.
Yeah.
So what are you talking about, private roads down in Osage City?
Well, when you get down, as you go out Engineers Road.
Right.
Along there, to really be effective, you need to probably get down there closer to the water's edge where you talk, it's the.
So Steamboat Road, is that a private road?
And I'm sure if we start fogging there, I'm sure we'll get requests from the folks that live in Osage County, which is just an extenuation of the Engineers Road. Be open to the idea of, possibly being reimbursed for that, so much an hour, we'll go down there and fog and stuff.
so how many times a week are we talking?
Normally, we try and do it 2 or 3 times a week. We'll do one night and then skip a night. So, if they do it maybe Monday, or Tuesday, Thursday, something like that.
Is that Osage Delta Drive, is that county road, or?
The public road goes all the way out, Osage County has it. I don't know if you're familiar with their area where
Mhm.
where the blowout was out of the levee. That's basically the county line, further on out. There's other, developments down there, cabins.
I think it is extenuating circumstances, and we usually add it in policy just to do it if we have a confirmed case of West Nile or some disease. But in this instance, I think that we can mitigate having that problem by fogging. So I'm not opposed to it. I don't think it's a bad idea.
I think we just approve it on a case-by-case basis.
Yeah,
But there's no point in doing part of it. What good's it gonna do? if you go down there and you just do part of it, I mean, there's still gonna be a ton of mosquitoes, yeah.
Are you guys getting the complaints too? Are you getting the complaints too? Are they calling
No.
requests? They're just all coming to us.
I think everybody's been directing the call.
Are you getting a lot of complaints?
And the state provided us some dumps and stuff, and we've been taking it down there and, distributing, but getting requests for the spring too.
The problem with the large side, a lot of those are large pools. You know, to really treat it properly, you're probably talking truckloads, not just handfuls. You know, where fogging would be more of a general area.
I've had calls about it too. Same thing was, we haven't had a confirmed case of West
Right.
Nile yet, but it is an extenuating circumstance. There's gonna be water there all summer, fall.
Yep, for a while.
Well, normally, the active season of mosquitoes is, you know, spring, fall. You know, after that, you know, we don't.
Yeah, I'm fine with it.
Yeah, I think so.
What do you need from us today? Just, okay?
Well, I guess my question is, do we go on private roads, down there? Two are very, you know, basically on another one off of.
North Tail Bottom,
Yeah.
yep. Channel Lane.
Do you want us to
Have you had-
record where the complaints are coming from? You know,
Have you
That
had,
might be an option.
have you had requests from there?
Yeah,
We
I don't
haven't
know where the
received any
addresses are.
requests.
Yeah, the complaints are coming into us, but I could ask them specifically to record the address of the complaint, that way we know.
If, you know, if they've got records, we could come
They
back
probably do.
and, you know, bring back where we got it next week and show where most of the complaints are at. If you got that information. Like I said, we haven't been receiving
Right.
since the new policy.
So we used to have a place down there on Channel. Did they flood at all or not?
That I couldn't tell you, I don't know.
I just seen this in
Yeah.
Okay, so it's mostly the southern part of the Osage where it
Well,
backs up from the
you got
Missouri.
backwater from
Right.
Missouri.
Big city's work. Green Road, Longmore.
Yeah.
I'd like to just approve it on a
Yeah, I
case-by-case
think
basis,
so.
and
Yeah,
so,
that's fine.
I mean, before we just start opening it wide open, unless you wanna do something different.
Well, stay on our roads to start with, and then if somebody requests it, then we consider it.
Private
So,
roads,
Marina Road, if they call and say, you know, can you come down here and do it? Because that's private road right there.
right,
There's a lot of houses down there.
right.
So
That's fine.
then
And
we,
I'll make sure that they record the address of the complaint, that way we can see where they're coming from.
Once they see us out fogging, I'm sure we're gonna get requests for Osage County. Would you be interested in doing it on a per hourly basis, something if we can figure it out? We can use FEMA rates for the truck. Don't know if they have a fogger in there, but we could get you an hourly rate, you know.
well, we've done that with other stuff too for them, so I'm fine with that too.
Yeah.
We're getting reimbursed for it. So,
Yeah.
I'm
Well, I
fine
tell
with it.
people if they're interested further down the levee that they'll need to pay for it, and we'll give them an estimate of what per treatment it would be, so
Okay.
So we need to approve that then, probably.
we'll bring it back to you.
Yeah.
You're gonna bring it back to us?
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
Okay.
All right.
Give you
Okay.
that direction.
Okay, we're gonna go back to Donnie, evacuation procedure manual. Quick, quick.
I know we talked to quite a while back, revising the evacuation procedure. This is what Jesse's came up with. What I'm asking you to do is it's gonna cost less than $400 to get 100 of them made. What we planned on doing is even the employees, it's not with the clerk's office, it's all the employees in the courthouse. Jesse's gonna put on a session every 6 months and walk them through what you need to get done. But it's gonna cost less than $400 to get 100 of them made. Each person will sign for theirs and turn it back in when they're gone. That way we don't have to keep making copies of them. So if you're all interested in getting this building done while he's still on staff, it'd be a good time to use it.
It'll be signed with rings, 3 rings across the top, so each page will be up there.
This way the girls can have it at their desk
if they get a bomb threat, they can pull it right up, yellow tab, and they'll be able to read off exactly what they
Okay.
need to do and try to ask what questions it's on there.
And this is just for the courthouse building itself.
I know we had talked, you and I, about this building too.
How much more work would that be to get it?
Mainly just modifying the existing procedures.
He's on staff with us, so it'd be the hourly rate that we're paying him now.
I think it'd be a good idea.
And then maybe
Yeah, I think
expand to
so.
some of our other buildings too.
Mhm.
Yeah. Jesse does good
We have
work.
one, the safety committee had one at one place, but I know this is a more elaborate and more up-to-date,
I was
especially.
gonna say, they probably all need to be updated.
Yeah.
There are a few new items we have to worry about these
Right,
days.
yes.
I mean, I wouldn't be opposed to taking a look at the other facilities as well.
Maybe we could work something up for this building, just rough cost on what this one would cost to do, and then maybe we look at some of the other buildings as well. Probably all the other buildings as well.
And I know, I think we've shared ours with you before, I think, when you first got here, so.
You got a copy there already.
You okay with approving this?
Yeah, I'm fine.
Yeah, nice job.
Yep.
So you all need a, how many hours think it's gonna get it done?
Yeah, just get us an estimate on this building, and then maybe we'll have them look at some of the other buildings as well.
Okay.
So,
We'll get it, state printing's gonna be the one printing.
okay. I move that we approve the evacuation procedure manual as submitted.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Get her done. Thank you. Thank you.
Call me later.
Yep, thanks.
Thanks, Jesse.
Will we get a copy of that for the minutes or something?
We can get your copy.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, Chris. Discussion of assessor pay forms.
I put somebody in the position of residential supervisor and can't get their payroll approved. Is there, I don't understand what the issue is in this matter.
So we have one supervisor position in the budget, and so,
But we've always had 3 supervisors, because we have the commercial supervisor, we have the residential supervisor, and then we have the personal property supervisor. And that's historically how the office has been since 2013.
well, that's not what we have currently.
So you guys changed the budget?
We, at the last year when we approved the budget, we had X number of positions, and we had a commercial supervisor. We did not have a residential supervisor in there. And so, and we had some other positions, and so, obviously, you know, if that was a mistake, you know, I think we're willing to listen, hear you out, but obviously we're trying to live within a budget as well.
Well, that position's been in, like I said, in the office since 2013. And at the time, since 2013, Phil Mercer was the residential supervisor, and then Adam Brown was the residential supervisor. And then when Adam left, Ryan Griffin became the acting residential supervisor. He didn't carry the title at that time, but had he stayed, he would have retained that title full time. And I mean, I'm in the position that I've got a person who's doing the residential supervisor position. They're supervising 4 people, 3 of them brand new staff members, and has to provide all the training for them, all the guidance for them. Since the turnover we've had in this last May, we got down to the point where we had 1 residential employee, and we've hired 3 people now, and only one of them had real estate experience. So it's impossible to have a residential department and not have a supervisor there in charge of that. I mean, this person has, the permits were backlogged. The permits are almost completely caught up now. We've done reorganization of duties in the residential portion of the office. Let's see, what else have we got? She's responsible for doing evaluations for the four people now, assigning duties to these 4 people, making sure that they're getting the proper training that they need. You know, we're talking about, I've got 3 staff members who have less than 3 months in the office. So obviously there's gotta be a supervisor there. I'm not sure why the position went away in the first place. I mean, it was on our list. And I think when the budget was set in, that position was there.
So the last person I have that had that title was Phil Mercer, and there hasn't been anybody that's filled that position since then.
Adam Brown was filling that position.
Well, I don't think that he ever made it there. Like, you have a letter here that I had that it was required that he had his Missouri residential real estate certification and to be promoted to that position. And I don't think he ever fully made it to that point before he left the county again.
He didn't have to have that certification to hold that position.
That's what your
yeah.
letter said.
And that was because that he was getting $3,000 less. Now, when he got that certification, he was gonna get that $3,000 increase, but he was still serving as the residential appraiser.
Not according to his
Or
paper.
residential supervisor, I mean. And that's the way things have run since 2013. I don't understand why you all made a change to this.
That wasn't on his pay form. That
There's
wasn't his
nobody that's
title.
had that title.
Okay.
When we redid titles at the beginning of the year, that title was not on your list and hasn't been there since Phil Mercer was
Okay,
here.
because somebody wasn't filling that position. Is that what you're saying, that nobody in the office had that on their pay form? Is that right?
I didn't have that position, anyone in that position.
You didn't have that position that anybody was filling with the pay form, is that right?
Right,
And Phil Mercer was the last person that had residential supervisor.
as the title.
Okay, so does, anytime that you get to the first of the year and a position isn't filled, do you just eliminate that position?
Well, there's been many of changes that have taken place with different titles since 2013. You've changed titles a lot on different types of positions.
Well, we had, in 2013, we had a chief appraiser who supervised all of the appraisal staff. When that person retired, we had a commercial supervisor and we had a residential supervisor. And then we had a personal property manager. And those 3 positions have stayed there since 2013. They haven't always been filled because there hasn't necessarily been somebody that had the qualifications to do the position. Now, we've had acting supervisors, and during the time period that you're talking about, I was handling the supervision of residential because I was trying to get somebody in who was qualified to be the supervisor. That doesn't mean that the position wasn't there. It
But
just
you
means
also-
that there wasn't anybody qualified to do it.
You also created the chief deputy position in that interim as well.
Yeah, we needed a deputy position, and we didn't create a chief deputy position. There's a deputy assessor, and each elected official has a deputy who is sworn in to handle items that the elected official would normally handle if they were there. I explained to the county commission, and I remember this quite clearly, I was getting ready to undergo major surgery and said I would be out of the office for some period of time. I needed somebody to fill that deputy position. It wasn't needed, it hadn't been needed since Judy Trail left in 2013. There was no need for it. But since I was gonna be out having surgery, then I needed somebody to fill that position. So you took the personal property manager and you converted that to the deputy. Well, we still need the personal property manager. Right now, we don't need a deputy because
We
I'm
just
back.
promoted somebody to that a couple weeks ago.
you gave somebody the title. I gave them the title of personal property manager. See, it's a matter of, I try to organize my office based on what I need, not on what you think somebody should be called.
Well,
And
but you
that's the
gave the
problem
pay
we're running
to-
into.
Yeah, you gave the pay. So,
I gave the pay of a personal property manager.
no, you gave the pay of a deputy.
Okay, because you called it the deputy, not a personal property manager. It's the personal property manager, the job that she's doing right now is the personal property manager. She's not doing deputy jobs. She cannot sign for me in my absence. She cannot hire and fire, none of those things. So, I mean, this is all about semantics. You all want to call something one thing, and I want to call it another. Well, it's the assessor's office. I would think the assessor would know what positions are needed, just like the county clerk would know what positions the county clerk needs.
So you want to do away with the deputy then and make that person a manager again?
We don't need a deputy right now, because my surgery's over with. I'm mostly recovered from that, and I'm back in the office pretty much full-time. I'm still undergoing physical therapy and things like that, but I'm always available. Whereas when I was undergoing surgery, in fact, I had 3 major surgeries within 5 months. So obviously I was not available all the time to handle all those items. And somebody had to be there who could do that. That's not necessary now. So I think you're all getting too hung up on what you call a position. I mean, I know you have to have the name of this position on your chart there that says this is what this position is and this is what they do. But I think that there needs to be some interaction between the office holder and your office as far as what is
And
needed
there
in
was,
that office.
I met with your chief deputy and we reviewed
And she
position
said
by
she said we
position.
did not need a residential supervisor?
She never brought up the fact that there was one missing.
And this goes to you every year with the position titles and the people and what the proposed budget is every year.
Right.
And that title hasn't been in there since 2013.
Yeah, it has, because Phil Mercer had that position.
And he left.
He
No,
was
he-
in 16.
Yeah,
16,
but he
say.
did not have the title officially on the
Okay,
paper.
well, you could call it whatever you want. Guys, I need a residential supervisor. I need somebody to supervise these people. I don't care what you call them, but I need the position and I need them to be paid the salary of supervisor. You know, we're playing games here over what you call something.
And you're
You know, this
saying
is about getting
that
business
position
done.
does not require them to be certified?
No, they don't have to be certified. If I,
But in 17 they did.
to get the additional 3,000, it is preferred that the person is certified. It's gotten to the point that there are so few people out there, you can't find certified people that have the certified appraiser from the state of Missouri. They're just not out there. I've been trying for probably, well, since 2013 to find a commercial appraiser, and I haven't found one yet. So just because the position is not being filled doesn't mean there's not a need in that office for it. And I haven't changed any titles. You guys are the ones changing the title. I said I needed somebody who could fill in the deputy duties. So you decided to change the personal property manager to deputy. Well, I called it a personal property manager / deputy. She handled those duties, okay? She's retired now. So I need a personal property manager. I need a commercial supervisor. I need a residential supervisor.
So if we put
And-
the title on her that,
Appraiser supervisor.
if you put a title on her, and I don't care what you call them either, we can, I think we're trying to do it on the grid so there's some continuity across the board, right?
Right.
Everybody in the
So-
county has a
So
title.
if you cover up the title, the position or whatever, don't even really look at that. I think the only thing on the pay form was, we don't have the salary in
In the
the
budget.
budget.
Yes.
So I think that was where most of it was coming from. So basically you got we got one at the 47,000 mark. And then you'd have to fill it with something under that wasn't.
Well, the person with the 47,000, he's also got 20 plus years with the county. And the individual that is gonna be the residential supervisor has got 19 years with the county.
Right.
So obviously, you know, the longevity plays in there somewhere. And if you take somebody who's been here 20 years and you give them a position that starts out at 47,000, then chances are they might be making more than that.
And when they did the salary grid, they made adjustments for that,
The
right?
people that were here, yes.
Okay.
But
So
just with the
there are
positions that were
adjustments
here, not necessarily ones that still existed, but there just wasn't a body in that position.
But those are the salaries that you had to work with.
All-
No matter
all-
what we
okay.
call them.
Right, no matter what you call them, but what I got, and I can show you here, was this list, it says positions, assessment clerk 1, assessment clerk 2, assessment clerk 3, appraiser 1, appraiser 2/residential, appraiser 3/commercial, appraisal supervisor, map coordinator, and chief deputy. There's nothing on here that says how many of these positions there are. So do I just assume that there's one of each?
You got
In
this
the
list.
email that
I don't have that list.
I gave you that email twice, Chris.
This email, I don't see it. I have
I'll
not
print
seen
it
it
out.
in my records. But regardless of the fact, I don't wanna sit here, I'm not gonna waste any time arguing titles. I have a person who's supervising 4 people now, trading 4 people, building back up the residential portion of the office, getting the job done and doing a heck of a job at it. Been here a month and a half and hit the ground running, and it's gotten things taken care of as they should be taken care of. And we're gonna argue over whether or not we call it this position or we call it that position, or if this person should be a supervisor or if they should be a deputy. I don't understand why we're,
I'm not
The
arguing.
argument's
time on
that
it.
you're asking for $9,000 that isn't in the budget currently.
okay. Does the assessment fund have a surplus at this point?
They
What
have
do
a
you mean?
reserve. I don't
Is
know what
there,
you mean by a
okay, there's a
surplus.
reserve in the assessment fund, and that's where the assessor's office is funded from, completely and totally separate from general revenue. The only thing that funds the assessor's office is from the assessment fund. And is there not probably about a $1.2 million surplus or reserve there
Not
now?
anymore.
Okay, so how much is it now?
At the moment, I haven't checked it.
I mean, everyone could argue that, because.
How much is in,
there
is the
a
question right now,
reserve.
if you don't mind, please?
1.3.
$1.3 million sitting there during an interest, okay? And I'm asking for an additional $9,000 so I can pay somebody a supervisory position because that's what they deserve. Because they're doing the job of that position. Whether or not you guys put it in the budget or not. I send the budget to you every year. I come in to have you ask questions of me. 99% of the time, you don't have any questions for me. 100% of the time, when I get my budget, it's different from what I sent in. So I don't know what you're gonna do with the budget. I don't know what changes you're gonna make. I only know what I need in the office.
With Alvin gone, what do we do with the salary she was making?
Basically, then the other person stepped up to that job that she had.
Except she's not the deputy. She is not sworn as the deputy assessor.
She's getting paid as the deputy.
Well, then she should be getting paid as the manager, and then you could take the
Yeah,
difference there for, if she's not the deputy,
It's still a supervisory position, supervising 3 people. So, like I said, I don't care what you all want to call them. I'm just trying to get the supervisors paid so I can retain employees, so we can get our work done over there. So is there any way we can resolve this? Anybody?
I'm going by the grid. That's what I've been sticking with.
Okay,
Being consistent with all offices, Chris.
okay, I don't have a problem with that. I just need to know what positions you're giving me, what positions you're calling them, and what the payroll is. And I don't understand why a supervisory position was taken away from my office this last budget time, just because somebody wasn't filling it at that time.
I don't know if anything was taken away.
There were 3 supervisors.
I'm going by what the old positions were, and there's new titles, which we didn't take away positions, we gave them different titles. And, I mean, agree with it or not, Chris did a lot of work on the grid, and we had a lot of discussion about it, a lot of arguments about it. We talked about it a lot, and so we implemented it. That's what it is then.
Just a second here, see if I got that sheet.
Your personal property manager was new title, chief deputy assessor. And at that time would have been the time to say, no, I'm not gonna have a chief deputy assessor.
I did, but I was told that couldn't be. I sent it over as personal property manager, and it was sent back to me. They said, we don't have a personal property manager, you have to put chief deputy. That's what I was told. I've got the copy of that in the office, I can send it over to you.
But at
later
what
on, if you
salary?
like. Pardon?
At what salary?
$42,000.
I thought the one that I saw had 47 on it
That's for,
That's for the
That's for the
supervisor.
Supervisor.
for the new one.
Mhm.
Oh, okay, yes, I'm.
So you're saying that your personal property manager has less responsibility than your deputy, but you wanna pay them the same salary as what the deputy should be?
you guys set the salaries on that, I didn't. So, this is.
Well, then you could make a manager and take the difference and,
This is the advertisement that we used to have, okay, and it says assessor, commercial appraiser, assessor, residential appraisal supervisor, full-time. That's all I'm trying to do, is get that position taken care of. And this is what was on the Cole County website, trying to hire people, okay? And that's, I never removed that position from the office, I never did away with it. There just wasn't anybody filling it for a while, because there was nobody qualified to do it. So I come back after my hospital leave and find out that positions have been changed. I am very pleased that you raised the salaries. That's great. I'd love to see that because that's why I was losing people, that and changing the software. That's why I had 4 people leave just recently. We filled those positions, including the supervisory position. I just need to get my supervisor compensated fairly for the job she's doing. Because if I can't, it's very likely this person will go somewhere else and work. And I don't think I'm asking for too much here. I mean, we have always been conservative with our spending in the assessor's office. When I took office, the assessment fund had about $656,000 in it. It's consistently had over $1 million surplus at the end of every year, and it just keeps going up. So there's money available that doesn't affect any other county office as far as taking something away from somebody. No general revenue goes to that office. The assessment fund funds it completely and totally. So I'm just asking, please make a position residential real estate supervisor. Pay them the salary that a supervisor makes, which according to the list you all gave me is $47,000. Can we do that, or is that not gonna happen?
I'm just going off the grid that we approved at, budget time. When I add a position, we can talk about it next year's budget.
But you took the position away, though.
This was all information that was available to you. So at that time is when you should have looked at this and said, wait a minute, you took this away.
Jeff, I had
If
3
we
major
renamed it.
surgeries in 4 months. 3 major surgeries in 4 months. And I'm trying to be reasonable, guys. All I'm trying to do is run the assessor's office.
We changed some names and then we've got the salaries in there. I really don't care what the name is on it.
I don't either.
So the salaries, we don't have.
well,
that
your
salary.
manager should be
So-
making, yeah, we're paying her the deputy's salary, so.
She's the same as a supervisor, though. I mean, she's supervising people just like any other supervisor in the office. There's 3 supervisory positions: commercial, residential, and personal property. And that's the way we've been doing it since 2013. If you guys want to change it, you can make it whatever you want. All I'm asking is that you pay the supervisors an appropriate salary. I'm not asking for anything more than we had last year. I'm not asking for any extra people. This is, 12 people is how many people I've had since 2007. We've gone up and down from that, both ways. But why we can't take care of this situation, or why we can't come to some resolution, I don't understand. It makes no sense. Does the person deserve the salary or not, if they're doing the job? That would be my question.
We can go all the way across the county and find people that are doing jobs and go above and beyond that deserve more salary.
Sure.
So,
Sure, but if
that's
you
not an argument in my book. We've got other offices with discretionary funds too, so that wouldn't affect any other office.
Okay.
So.
Well, guys, I've requested and begged you to pay this person what they are supposed to be paid. I don't
Just
see any
one,
reason
Chris,
to
though.
waste any more time, because I've done everything I can to try to get this person treated fairly. And if you're not gonna give her her raise, tell her, okay? She's doing the job, she's doing a wonderful job at it, she is doing great. She has really helped us get to where we need to be.
We're not arguing
But-
it.
So you decide what you're gonna do with the salary. I mean, it's up to you. I have no control over it, obviously, so if the position's there, pay her. If you don't wanna pay her, tell her. But thank you for your time.
Pay what's in the budget with the positions we got open.
The positions were there. You guys took them out January 1, 2019. I'm sorry. Jackie, I'm sorry. I argued till I blew in the face, and common sense evidently doesn't work. I apologize.
So now that he's gone, I will say that there is a lot of great things happening in the assessor's office. I have been trying to work with DevNet and trying to get this mess taken care of and get us to a system that is going to work for the whole county. And they're having to deal with it, and there's a lot of stuff that has gone on. Even when Alvin was here, before Jackie took over, they had a ton of work that LV actually helped with, and some others actually helped with, to try to get some of this personal property stuff into the system, because it was a nightmare. Still a lot of issues going on there, so as long as I've been here, even when Ellinger was here, Chris had vacancies, and lots of vacancies, and so we told him for a long time. And I'm not arguing for or against whatever salary that we want to give Jackie or whomever at the assessor's office, but we told him that you find people to fill the positions and we'll work with you on salary. I mean, I remember that vaguely.
Mhm.
And so, anyway, do I think they have a really good staff over there? Yeah. I mean, they've hired some new people, lots of turnover. It's not easy to find people at all. I mean, and to find good people, and people that want to do the job, and people, or a supervisor that wants to make people do the job. And so, like I said, I'm not arguing
Okay.
for or against, but I mean, I'm
I'm not gonna argue for or against it either,
Right.
but if you're gonna come in and say, I just don't give my person a raise because you're doing a bang up job, we're gonna have everybody in line at that door to do that. Now, if you come up here and say, look, I need to give this person a raise because they're taking on additional duties, but I'm gonna eliminate this position, I'm actually gonna save money.
right.
But there was nothing there. This was just arguing about the name and the title, which I don't care what you wanna call them. We tried to get some continuity on the grid, and we still have name slash name slash name slash name, but at least there's some continuity there.
Right.
And I will tell you, I didn't take any money away from the assessor's budget. We actually added almost $20,000 to his salary line
Mhm.
in making the adjustments that we did, and we were trying very hard to give him what he needed.
Right.
So I don't want it to to look like we tried to take a position away or a supervisor position away. We just went through and reclassified what he had and gave it back to him. And like I said, we added almost $20,000 to his budget at the beginning of the year due to those salary adjustments. So the argument with me is not over the title, it's the fact that now you want to add another $9,000 that wasn't in there at the beginning of the year.
And there's been consistently positions open there years long. I mean, we've never taken any away that, usually if you don't fill one within a year or something, we're
Right.
taking that out of the budget the next year.
He's got, what, 2 positions open?
One person came over yesterday, so as far as I know, just one yet.
One.
But they may already have somebody in mind that we haven't seen yet.
So the 20,000 in addition, that was kind of the whole reclassification and
Right.
getting everybody kind of a bump that we tried to do this past year.
Right.
So instead of COLAs or whatever, we just kind of reclassified everybody, and so that's where that 20,000 kind of came dispersed out.
Right. And, I mean, in our original proposal, we did not even propose that there was a supervisor position in there. Tom came back after the fact with Alvin, and we talked about his position standalone, that it needed to be classified differently.
And we came up with that supervisor
So,
title.
right, so originally, there was no supervisor in there. It was appraiser 1, appraiser 2, appraiser 3. And there was no supervisory position in there.
And if
That
you-
position was added after the fact.
And if you remember, he technically wasn't supervising anybody.
Right. So,
Did you have something else you needed to tell me? Because I understand the conversation continued about the,
me?
yeah.
No, I mean, we're having a conversation about it, but I didn't say anything specifically about you. I
The
talked
problems with DevNet.
I was talking about how your staff had been doing a great job and doing additional duties with DevNet and different things, and so,
Except that DevNet was supposed to have a product up and running a year ago, February, and we still don't have a product up and running. And you guys are paying them like $20,000 a quarter, plus the company that we're using before. So I'd say if there's any problems with DevNet, you need to check with DevNet.
I have been talking to DevNet.
Have they given us any good answers?
Probably not any more than Clear Basin would give us good answers on why the bridge didn't work, so.
Well, I think you can check with the collector. The last dozen or so problems were with DevNet and not Clear Basin with the bridge. That's what he told me at our meeting with Central Bank.
I wasn't at that meeting, so I don't know, yeah. But anyway, we made a decision on DevNet, Chris, and right, wrong, indifferent, that's where we're going.
Yeah.
And we're gonna,
And I
if
can tell
that's
you-
a bad decision, that's on us.
The county values will suffer because of the quality of that, or lack of quality of that software. I can tell you for a fact. I've already seen some of the numbers coming in, and it's not gonna be good.
Well, I would say that, when we do a reassessment, that'll more than offset a lot of that probably. So
We just did a reassessment.
we haven't done a reassessment in, I don't know how many years.
Every odd year, we do a reassessment, Chris. Every odd year. Required by statute, you can check with the tax commission if you want.
Well, then, yeah, I'm not gonna argue about that, but
Okay. If you have something to say to me or about me, I prefer you did it to my face.
I didn't say,
We're not-
Chris,
There was
Chris,
nothing
I didn't
to
say
answer.
anything about you, okay? We were having a conversation and you were upset and you left, okay?
I'm tired.
Well,
I'm tired.
well, then go home. I mean, if you're tired, I'm tired too. I've been up since 4:30, so
I've
what?
been trying to get a good answer to a simple question, and I can't get that.
Well, we're having a conversation and it's not going anywhere. I was telling everybody else, I was defending you and your office and telling everybody what a great job they've been doing and how much extra work they've been doing over the past 3, 4, 5 months, and how the collector actually helped you guys, get some of that stuff done in DevNet. And
If
so
that's the
go
case-
watch the video.
If that's the case, and I was misinformed, then you have my apology.
Yes.
Okay? In all honesty, if that's the case, I was misinformed, then you'd have my sincere apology.
So, but anyway, so as I was saying, obviously, right, wrong, indifferent. I do feel like he's got a good staff over there, and I think they're headed in the right direction, so. But that's all I got to say.
So you've still got one open position, Chris?
Yes, I had somebody selected for that position, but it took so long to find out if I was gonna be able to hire that they found another job. So I'll have to keep looking to fill that position. That's an assessment perk, I believe. I'm not sure, but I think it is.
There's one on the F drive, is that current?
Which
Well, it was
file?
on the 2019 budget.
Yes,
Final budget.
the final budget. That was how we started the year, on that email. I can forward the email to everybody.
I just went on F drive and was looking at that, because that's what I refer to whenever we have positions open and the salaries. So, okay, yeah, and I think this was what you emailed us too. I didn't go open that one up, I just went on the F drive, so. All right, what else we got?
Have anything else?
Yeah, we got closed session. So,
Anything else?
No?
You ready to roll?
Yeah, I was gonna have Bill Ford give a
Hey,
update
Dave.
on 911, but he left, so, anything else?
No, that's all I was asking, if we're ready
No.
to move on.
all right, I got stuff I gotta get done, so.
Okay.
I move to go into closed session pursuant to section 610.021 of the revised statutes of Missouri for personnel issues sub 3.
Second,
Roll call?
Sam?
Yes.
Jeff?
yes.
Chris?
Yes. Joe.